Hello again. I know it's been a couple of weeks. There's been inclement weather. I've had a lot of duties to take care of, which I got most of them done. A few more things I need to get done for myself. Plus, not for nothing, this Mercury retrograde has been retrograding a lot on sis. Anyway, enough of that. I still felt like I should say something. Knowing what to say has never really been a problem for me. But right now it is. So I'm just gonna, whatever flows, flows. Okay? Now, normally I'm in the park talking to y'all, but inclement weather still. Here in New Orleans, it's been raining so much. I'm not mad at it. I love rain. I also love that fall is showing up. I love me some fall. It's my favorite season. I'm one of those first folks. And not for nothing, it's been hot. It's been hot as piss around here. And so between the rain and the fall winds that are coming through, I'm not mad at it at all. Anyway, the reason why I'm kind of lost for words is I heard a statistic that really, I don't know, just hit me. There's a lot that we are all adjusting to, especially over the last 4 or 5 years. But this one I don't want to get used to. I don't want to normalize inside of myself. Sometimes when we see mass shootings and things of that nature, nowadays we're like, okay, it's just another day. It's just Tuesday. It's just a Wednesday, whatever. But the statistics said that the number one cause of death of children in the United States right now is shooting. And it's not something that, again, I ever want to get used to. I'm trying really hard to stay focused and calm because it's not something we should, in my mind, ever get used to or think, oh, it's the cost of doing business and having our weapons. I don't think that cost is worth it. Like if you buy yourself a nice vehicle or diamond ring or something like that, you're going to have to pay some money out of pocket for it. There's going to be a cost to anything you want in this life. That cost is too high, in my opinion. Too high. What about our need to protect ourselves? It's gone entirely too far. That's just a subjective opinion of my own. When I say it's going too far, the need does not is not weighted equally to the want. In other words, in my lifetime or my parents' lifetime or before that I am aware of, the government never came and took nobody's guns from their houses unless they were doing some illegal stuff. Never. And all the times that there were hoopla about declaring martial law throughout the country, and all of these moments in which we've had some devastating things happen, starting with COVID and things like it. Not once did martial law get declared across the country. No one came for anybody's guns or anybody's ability to protect themselves. And the want to have all these things is greater than the need to have all these things, is what I mean. Based on what I just said. Now, I don't have all my equipment and stuff set up, so we're going to be a little shaky possibly. I do apologize ahead of time. The one that I would like to see is a greater sense of community. Not just an outcry and news cameras and stories getting their sound bites from people who have experienced a tragedy. But us having a greater sense of community would be great. Be nice. The stressful part of it all is the idea for me, and I would like you to consider this, that those of us who are grown, sometimes school was our only safe space. I know there were times where school was my only safe space. There were times where I didn't have any safe spaces, not even at school. Depends on what school I was going to, you know what I mean? But at least they had that safe space. Because sometimes home is not so safe. But sometimes school ain't either nowadays. Where is a safe space for kids? Like, can you think of right now, take a little moment, can you consider where is a safe space for kids? Like, you know for certain that you take them there, they're going to be safe. The world in which we're raising them in now, nowhere is safe. And that's what got me. I realized when I asked myself that same question I'm asking you, is that there's nowhere safe for them. We can be safe spaces for them. In order for us to be that, we gotta get our heads out of our own asses. I mean, because when you think about it, one of the biggest reasons why I'm like limiting myself on the internet, my presence on the internet nowadays, is because even for grown folks, ain't no safe spaces. I ain't scared of none of y'all, to be honest with you, but I don't want to be bothered. I can do my work without all that. But I choose to be a safe space for any child that approaches me, that I know, that I'm around. Because I never know in this world, the world in which we are all collectively creating, and the next time they're going to encounter a safe space. I don't know what their home lives are like. I don't know what their school lives are like. None of that matters to me. As long as when that child encounters me, she or he or they encounter a smile. If they want a hug, they can have it. I don't care if it's a stranger. Does that be who you wanted or who you needed when you were little? And I've had some people like that in my life when I was little. I think that's why I can remember it, recall it, and it stands out to me. Because the people who were like that were memorable. I know pain's usually is the most prominent thing. Pain is prominent. So the negative experiences one can have when growing up, a lot of times takes precedence in our mind and become the core of who we are. We call them core memories. Where are they core identity points? I call them core identity points. Because you either became it or you overcame it, didn't you? Ask yourself, core memories. Did you become it or overcome it? The ones that were challenging and negative. So if I can give someone a core memory that's positive, I'm going to do that. I'm not saying this to you to pat myself on the back because you don't see me doing it. I could just be saying that. I'm saying it to you. So you can continuously be a potential core memory, a core identity point for someone growing up. Because if you don't consider doing this, all they will have that fed who they are is negative feedback. What are they going to become? Because long after we take our last breath, they will take over this planet. And I don't know about you, I have little bitties. I have my Ami, which is my granddaughter, and any other potential grandkids that my children will produce, plus everybody else's kids that I've grown to love, that they will potentially produce. I already love them and not here yet. Now that's a selfish reason. But generally speaking, if you can find it in yourself to be a core good personality point for someone, harm you? What are you going to lose? When I am able, and I have yet to be able, every single time I think I'm going to be able, something else come up. You know how they go. Well, I'm able. One of the things that I have done, but I want to continue to do and do it in a larger scale, is going to different schools in my area, in my community, and paying off lunch tabs, which I don't fully understand why children are paying for lunch. And based on their parents' income, they're paying for lunch. We already want to teach them the struggle life. Because there were times where I was struggling and going through college and trying to make a way off a military salary that my husband had. That one or two or three times my children got their lunches taken. I had to come to school, either bring lunch or put lunch on their tabs. But the event had already happened. And that's hurtful to a child, especially if you're doing it in front of other children. And they hadn't experienced it that many times, but it was once is enough to cause some kind of core identity point. That's not a good one. So it's one of those things that I challenge myself to do. Like that. If there's some way you can lessen the suffering, not grown folks necessarily. I do try sometimes, but kids, what's the purpose in it? One, you get to do a good thing and put a smile on a child's face, whether they know you did it or not. And two, you're developing the future. You're contributing to the future. Being nice, both nice and kind to children, is never going to go wrong. It's never going to go wrong. Even if you don't feel like they appreciate it, long term, they're going to remember it. There's some part of them that will. It's worth it. That's a definitely cost benefit analysis that has some balance in it. As far as mental health care is concerned, I've made it no secret that I'm great at what I do. I'm a damn good therapist. But I choose to do things this way. The system didn't work really very well for me. And I'm still considering whether or not I want to get back in it. I just don't want to fight any insurance companies. That's part of the barriers to care, you know. We have to have insurance and pay for mental health care. That should be like a federal job or something that is subsidized by our government. I said what I said. Because mental health care is one of the largest problems that is plaguing our country in so many facets, in so many ways. If we want change, that cost benefit analysis should be sound on that point. One of the biggest reasons why. And I had many reasons, but one of the biggest ones was having to tell a child that is a client that they can't see me anymore because the insurance won't cover them for more than 2 more sessions or more than 3 more sessions, and we got to count down. And this child is still in need of care, but determined by insurance companies and other things whether or not they're going to continue to receive that level of care, or what's worse, having a child who's already in danger emotionally, mentally, having them be hospitalized and only making their emotional needs worse, because hospitalization is so difficult to come by for children and adults when they need extended care. It got to the point where I was afraid if one of my clients had to go and be hospitalized because of what they would be like when they come out. We don't have enough. There's not enough being put into it. There's not enough qualified people who care doing that work. Anybody who would like to have mental health care should be able to have access to mental health care. Hmm. There are many times, and it is like, I'm gonna tell you a secret squirrel's fear of mine because I've seen so much in this life. I see people walking up the street, young people even, teens, early 20s, just talking to themselves and homeless. And I feel so hopeless and helpless in the moment when I see them because we could help people like that. There is enough, but we just don't. What happened in Georgia recently? It's not new. It's just the last of many where the statistic eventually was born out of. It created a new reality for us all that our children are dying by gunfire more than anything else. It's not something I want to uh, persist. Nah, I thought I was gonna come over here and talk to y'all about this election that is going to happen in the fall. And eventually I will, but this takes precedent to me. It is important that we consider what world we are creating because this world has been created. This statistic was born out of us all deciding it's okay for everybody, no matter what the situation is, to have whatever amount of weapons and guns. Other countries don't do this. When I was in Europe, I saw zero guns. I studied for a whole semester abroad and saw zero guns. And I was safe. Heard zero gunfire and I was safe. And no, I just didn't go to the touristy areas. More guns does not mean more safety. No more security guards and more cops are not going to solve the problem. It might exacerbate it, actually. When at some point we're going to have to realize a lot of that is about money, about the income that comes from weapons. A country ain't going to be torn down by whether or not a Democrat or a Republican is in office. This is my subjective opinion about such things. It's going to be torn down by the fact that we don't have any mentally well or stable or emotionally, physically healthy youth to go into the future. Why? Because they're all going to have PTSD or some range of it. And that's the ones who survived the gunfire. You care about this country, or you care about the youth at all, consider doing something about this. Even if doing something about it is voting, writing your congressman, having more conversations about gun safety, and whether or not we should have a stockpile of weapons in as many households as we have them. It is not serving us well. If it was serving us well, then I'd say, I still feel kind of the way I feel right now, honestly. But at least some benefit will be coming out of it. But it seems like the more guns we have, the more death we have, not protection. Because what are we protecting? Things. I'm not gonna sit here and be a hypocrite. I own a weapon. I sure do. One. Just the one for safety. It doesn't have a whole bunch of. It's not a thing that can take out a whole bunch of people. Nothing like that. I've only ever fired it at a range, and I'm proud of that fact. Because I don't ever want to have to do anything with that other than fire at the range for practice. Again, I'm going to give you another subjective opinion, so y'all don't have to agree with this. And if you're offended, that's your problem. But if you proud, or you constantly, it's just been my feeling. You walking around with weapons. It's some kind of badge of honor, something else going on with you. There's something else lacking somewhere else. Because if the ability to harm another human being is your pride and joy, maybe consider reevaluating which brings you joy. Or understanding that because that brings you joy, something else is going on that maybe you need some help with. And if y'all know somebody like that, I would say take that same assessment. We're part of, our children are not surviving this. Then what is the point of us? We're meant to protect them, Do our best and what we're able to do to protect them. I think first things first. Whoever finna be president getting written. Now, I can write and I can speak. I've done it before and I'll do it again. I sure will. I'm already going to start writing today. My hope is start organizing my thoughts so I can get that down on paper and get some legislation written and passed through. Now, you might say, well, I'm just one person. What can I do? Let me tell you something. Now, a friend of mine recently told me I should probably talk about this more, but every now and again I have to get to know somebody, or it has to be a reason for me saying it or talking about it. But he's like, why aren't you more proud of it? It's not like I'm not proud of it. It's just that it's not something I brag on all the time. You know what I mean? But what can you do? There was one point I was a military spouse doing the best I could. I saw that there was a need. There's something called an ombudsman. Military, Navy, Coast Guard, and it's called something else. Family support specialists and other branches. But the job essentially is the same. You're a civilian worker. And you're the go-between the command and the families. You make sure they have resources if anybody needs any help with anything. If someone's having some challenging moments in their family, you make the command aware of it and you get them resources and help. You don't there's nothing punitive about it. You get them help. Right? One of the things that I realized was a huge issue was the constant movement between 2.5 to 4 years. So if the spouse, whether that be female or male, but mostly it's the females, are in a circumstance in which they want to get out. Sometimes that's the case, and I found myself there. I want to have a potential. I want to have the opportunity to take care of myself if I want to, so I'm going to go to college. I go to college, and then I spend so much money just moving every 2 to 4 years, trying to finish. And every college you go to, especially if it's out of state, they're going to take some of your credits away that you didn't already earn because now you're going to their school and they're going to make you retake a lot of classes. But as a military spouse, you don't have a choice. You have to move. So I was losing credit hand over fist. Okay? It took me 5.5 years to complete a 4-year degree. Well, probably 6 years to complete a 4-year degree because of it. Okay? And so much money. So I wrote, I was like, what can I do? I don't know what I can do. And yes, I had doubt in myself, but I still did it. I sat, pen to paper, and wrote my story. And then I wrote about how difficult and challenging it is for anybody in those circumstances to complete a degree. And how much Pell Grant money was being wasted. Because every single time you move, you got to retake classes. So if you have Pell Grants, that's from the federal government. You are paying 2 or 3 times for the same classes. Government. So when you make it about the money, sometimes they do listen. Find a way. Find some statistics that tell them how much the government is losing and lost with all this violence. At least that's my intention. Anyway, back to the story. So, wrote a letter about it, Worried about how we are losing money, worried about how the spouses are losing, worried about potential danger they're putting spouses in, those who wants to get out of situations that they don't want to be in, and how it would help greatly if there was some way to keep schools from doing this to military spouses specifically. And when you know, some months later, I mean many months later, I got a letter back, didn't even know it. The president talked to the command that I was working for and decided to create a law banning schools from being able to do that to military spouses any further. Now, you have to go through the legislature, obviously. But it was created. And it was just lit on me. I ain't no power, no clout. It was just lit on me. And I did it. I got the letter to show you. I had the letter to prove it. Because once it was done, the letter was sent. Once the law was made, the letter was sent to my command, who gifted it to me, framed, to show me what I had done. That's what you can do. And even if it don't go nowhere, we're going to say not that. But you all can write. You all can figure out. Some of you have the skill and talent of statistics and showing how much this is impacting your community specifically, how the mental health care is impacting your community, how the lack thereof and the lack of access to is affecting your community. There are things you can do. Now, I know working 9 to 5 or whatever shifts you work, raising kids and paying bills and worrying about the house, it's very hard to worry about anything else. I know. No, everybody ain't able to fit nothing else in their day and still get some kind of rest. I ain't talking to y'all folks. Y'all keep on grinding until you get there. I'm talking about the folks who have the time and skill and the ability. Do something. As much as it pains me to even go back to the counseling community in this state of Louisiana, because they hurt me so deep, it is lit a fire under me to go back. In whatever way I need to do that. I am too skilled not to be doing this work. And that is too heavy of a burden to sleep at night not doing my job. Now I still do my job. I still help my community in whatever way I can. But that's the one way I've been preventing myself from doing it because of what happened. It shouldn't be a thing. I'm telling y'all to help in any way you can. Excuse my tears. But I can too, and that's the way I'm going to do it. Whatever way I can. I live a relatively comfortable life with or without it. But I don't want to leave this world thinking that that's the thing that our children have to grow up in. Knowing that the most likely thing that's going to happen to them before they get to be grown is dying via violence. No matter where they are. No matter where they are. There's no safe spaces for them. The children that are alive now, it is normalized to them to think that every day on the news there's going to be a mass shooting. It was such a rare thing to happen. When I was growing up, Columbine was such a surprise to everyone around the world. And now nobody's surprised. We should be shocked by it. And we are numb to it. I'm not including myself because I ate. It hurts every time. And I look away. I'm not gonna lie to you, I look away. Because I feel sometimes like there's so much on my plate that I can't do anything about it. But I can talk to y'all. I can encourage you to do something. Even if you're just going to be that safe space for the kids in your neighborhood. One thing that I just found so weird at my house, in my neighborhood, it's a relatively nice neighborhood. And nobody does the trick or treating anymore. They'll never have no porch lights on with candy on the porch. And the first few years, I went out and got some candy, but I also brought my kids trick or treating when they were little. I was still able to do that. And now nobody's doing it no more. It feels sad. One of the biggest things we can do is stop being the linchpins in our communities and bringing back a sense of that. Knowing your neighbor. Loving your neighbor. Loving the kids. Block parties. Some kids don't even know what block party is. That's when you close off the neighborhood and everybody agrees to bring a pot, a dish, and everybody just hangs out and gets to know each other. And feed each other and love on each other and listen to music. That's a block party. And you plan it ahead of time. So you have a sense of community. You get to know each other. More of us who are able could and should do these things. All these things that I'm talking about. What prevents a lot of this stuff is us caring again. Actually giving a damn. Now I know. I ain't on here talking about gossip and all this stuff. Listen. I can spill tea with the best of them, but I only spill tea with people I trust. You understand? I don't just do it on here. I don't have that in me. I ain't knocking nobody's hustle. I'm just saying that's not what I do. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying it is I hope this message gets shared and talked about. Not because I need people to look at me. Okay? If that was the case, I would have never left the platform I was on that was already had some numbers. This is not about that. Even if, listen, I used to get PO'd. People steal my work and claim it as their own and then watch it blow up after they stole my words, my style, my logo. That's one of them out there that stole my logo, my style, my words, everything. And pretend like it's all hers. I used to get so PO'd. But I realized it's something I just have to deal with. It happens so many times at this point that I don't even care no more. I'm like, good. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't the point the message get out there. It was, but still, I'm a human being. I deserve recognition for my work. Because I work hard. I have worked hard. And I've sacrificed a lot. But at this time, if you want to take every single word I'm saying right now and repeat it on a platform that's larger than mine, go ahead and do it. I'm fine with it. If somebody hear it. You understand? This requires nothing other than caring. A little bit more than we currently do. I know we all want to win something. We all want to talk about who did what and where and politics and all that. But none of that's going to matter. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. I already know who's winning. But it doesn't matter who's going to win and who's going to lose. If within the next generation we ain't got no children in this country stable enough to take over, who's going to be president in 30 years? Someone with PTSD? Because that's the pool you're coming from. The pool you're going to be drawing from is kids with PTSD. Whether they were right at the incident or familiar with it. Kids who have normalized in their brains that violence is a part of a childhood that they grew up in and is normalized in any childhood. That's the pool you're going to be drawing from for your leaders. You might say, well, that's their problem and not mine, because that's what they said about, global warming, climate change, all the trash, the plastic, the rubber burning, all the things that are terrible things that we just need to really look at. But when we going to stop saying we're going to push the can to the future, we're going to just come kick it down the road. Because you don't care about them, they ain't going to care about you when you too old to take care of yourself. Even if one of y'all watching me feel like have that self-serving thought. The same people that you expect to make sure you good when you old and you got your walker in your wheelchair is the same people I'm asking you to care about now. Because you ain't going to be able to leave nothing nowhere, no how. You think you're going to die peacefully in your sleep and your comfortable bed? Who's going to take care of the infrastructure? Who's going to take care of the overhead of this country if nobody's well enough to do it? Make it make sense. It might sound like I'm fussing at y'all. Maybe I am fussing a little bit, because I fuss from time to time. But some of the things y'all think important ain't really that important. At least not in the immediate. What is important in the immediate is that our kids have a safe space. That we have a sense of community again. That we stop thinking that guns and weapons is a sign of glory. Because look what it's got us. That's all I'm saying. The irritation that I have to stop constantly what I'm doing to transmute this kind of stuff. It cannot be measured with my own words. It's unnecessary. These are necessary losses. Step by step, I plan on doing things about it. I done told you what I'm planning on doing about it. What you plan on doing about it? I know there's some folks out there that don't care. And when I say they don't care, they only care about their own. Like, the families at the center of this most recent tragic event, I'm pretty sure devastated themselves. But they didn't care enough not to give that child a gun. Why is a weapon of destruction and death a present? Why is that a good present to give a child? I don't understand. Make me understand. Somebody help me understand. Because I don't. That is a child. One should even be glorifying and glamorizing instrument of death. What happened to make that a normalized thing in our society? We must go back in some kind of way. We threw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, in a lot of ways, as it pertains to our sense of community and connectedness and togetherness, as well as a focus on, you can't just do everything just because you want to do it. Like, why? And the reason why you can't just do everything because you want to do it, because it's not just about one individual. We are not isolated in a vacuum. We're living as a community whether we like it or not. It's about time we start acting like it again. Constant need for attention and clout and all these things notwithstanding. At what point are we going to say, you know what? Us constantly competing with each other all the damn time over the silliest shit might not be the best thing for us. At some point, we have to recognize that things have gone too far. I think at this particular point, as it pertains to, us owning weapons to the degree that we're capable of owning them, has gone too far. But that's my subjective opinion. But something will be done. I don't know what. I just know something will be. Even if us using our voices to say, no, this is not okay. I know some of us have given up. I've given up from time to time when it comes to this matter, especially with the NRA and things like this, throwing money and advertisement and psychological warfare into the mist. It's very hard to fight something so large. I understand and I know it. I didn't fought bigger things. I'm not gonna say it was fun, cause I could fight. I'm a fighter, but I prefer to love if I can. If I have a choice. Fighting ain't always easy. Like, I live a relatively peaceful life, but it took a lot of violence to get this peaceful. I don't join a fight or a battle easily, because I don't think it's fun. Victory is fun, but the battle itself, nah. It comes with a lot of struggles, and I know it. It's like something be a lot of struggles for me to go ahead and get that license back. But it's something. It'll be a lot of struggles for me to sit here and wait after I start writing, or just to sit there and focus and write, to make sure that information gets to the right place it needs to get to, so somebody sees it. And I know it's going to take months before somebody can respond to me. If they do. It is the legislative body, and they become more toxic. They become more toxic since 2008. More and more toxic. And when I say toxic, I mean, money focused, popularity focused, instead of being people focused, which is what we paid them to be. It's just another thing, taking the money out of politics. And that's a bigger battle, ain't it? We might not be able to strip it all, but we can strip some. That one thing, you might think that's a small feat, but that one thing, taking money out of politics, their ability to gain, for their ability to have financial gain, taking that out of politics would strip a good amount of them out of politics. Because that's why a lot of them are in there. That's my subjective opinion. They're making money. They have incentive to sometimes make the decisions that they make. But if they are not able to have incentive, just like the gun lobby would not have been able to incentivize those who made this statistic today that I'm talking about possible, they were not able to incentivize those people to make those laws, then the statistic that children more likely die by gun violence than anything else would not be a thing. One directly led to the other. Say what you want, say that one is objective. Yeah, I'm a little PO'd about it. More than a little. But if we keep thinking there's nothing we can do about it, they have money and power, well, then they do. Individually, you might not have as much power as one of them, maybe. But collectively, we do. At some point, we have to decide to stop being so damn powerless, because right now they're bullying us. Those who were incentivized to make that a thing. It needs to cease. If we care. Anyway, I'm probably going to talk to y'all again tomorrow, because tomorrow's Sunday. Now, depending on the weather, I might still be inside. But hopefully I can go to the park. Anyway, you're loved.